Hello, I'm your psychological mentor, Park Seni. What is the most important thing in life? I've often found myself pondering this question over and over again, and so I found many answers. From a very young age, I began to clearly see what was most important. And as I started to value and focus on those things one by one, step by step, I think I've been able to live a life that's much happier, more meaningful, and more helpful to others than most people. I always feel grateful and joyful. Everyone, shall we take a look at what is the most important thing in the world? There are so many, right? Parents are important, family is important, friends are important, reading is important. Truth is important too, and there really are so many important things. But no matter how much I think about it, when you look at how this world works, whose history do we say history is? Who records it? Just like people say history is written by the victors, history continues to be written and viewed from the perspective of the strong. In my view, this world is already shaped by powerful teachers who have become the main characters and by persistent, passionate students. The events that unfold from their encounters are recorded, and the changes in the world that result in these what we call history. In the end, I came to think that the history of this world is really the story of powerful teachers and the students who become powerful themselves. If I were to be someone who writes history, I would need to seek out powerful teachers. And by embracing the wisdom of such people, I would be able to accomplish great things and create historical events through those encounters. So, although there are many important things in this world, I think the most important is the teacher. A teacher is someone who brings me into a state of complete concentration and immersion. And in that state helps me internalize powerful, essential truths deep into my unconscious. When you look at many families, people often say things like, that child comes from a distinguished family, or that child seems a bit wild. Having a strong family background usually means that the parents play the role of a teacher in the household. When parents speak, children become completely focused and immersed, thanks to a certain dignity or authority. But of course, that dignity and authority can't exist without love. So it's a family with a strong foundation where the parents set an example through their own words and actions, all based on love. It's a family where the parents themselves take on the role of mentors. It's a truly admirable and desirable family, but sometimes you might not be able to learn much from your parents. In that case, as a young descendant, you might wonder, if my parents or ancestors weren't admirable people, how could I possibly become someone great? You might end up looking for yet another excuse like that, an excuse for why you can't become someone great. But honestly, once you're over 20, no matter how lacking your parents might be, I believe that from then on, you absolutely must seek out a mentor for yourself. Finding a mentor isn't something you need to overthink or make difficult. That's even more true in this day and age. This is actually a question I get asked a lot. Who is your mentor? People who meet me or receive training from me ask this question very often. And honestly, I want to give them a really impressive answer at times. I want to say that my mentor is someone everyone knows, but in reality, I haven't had many mentors in my life. When I was young, because now there are people I respect, but when I was young, the people I could call or feel as mentors were already gone, like Admiral Lee, Sunday Sin, or other heroes. Those kinds of people were my mentors, and they have always been lifelong teachers to me. The reason I could even dare to think of them as my mentors was because of the books they wrote, or more accurately, books written by others describing them. By reading those kinds of books over and over, I tried to emulate their way of thinking to the point where I could think as they did. I made a conscious effort to absorb their books, thoughts, and mindset. When it comes to finding a mentor, even just going to the library and looking around carefully, you'll find that there are plenty of people who can become your mentors. It's not difficult, but instead the real issue is your own mindset when you find them. If you just read a book casually and think, oh, I just read another book, then you won't be able to meet a true mentor. I've often found myself reading a book and being so moved that tears stream down my face, my whole body tingling with excitement and overwhelming emotion. If you experience things like that, I believe you have truly found your mentor. If you have the means, by spending a little money, you can also go out in search of a spiritual mentor. You can also find a lot on YouTube. Ultimately, the mindset of someone who is always willing to learn and their sincerity, those seem to be even more important. And I'm not saying this for my own financial gain, but sincerely, if you've watched a video and felt deeply moved or if you felt something from the videos I've uploaded so far, then by actually joining even a group class at Sam Mental, you will experience much greater inspiration and change. And these things will become more concrete and happen more quickly. Just keep that in mind. So I believe that finding a mentor is always the most important thing. And as you can see, I still have a lot of books around me. I buy them all the time. I buy and read a lot. And if you saw how much I read despite being busy, you'd probably be surprised. I've probably written in my own book about how many books I buy, probably even in Don't Study, Do Hypnosis. I believe that the most serious insult in the world is to be called someone without a mentor, you, a person without a mentor. I think that's the worst thing a person could ever be called, and something you should never hear. Not having parents, but it's impossible not to have parents. If you didn't have parents, you wouldn't have been born. Being an orphan, that's what it is. Being an orphan is something that can evoke, feelings of pity, sadness, and sympathy. And, if you work even harder as an orphan and achieve something great, you can definitely get extra credit for that as well. But in this vast world, not having a mentor in your field, this really means being someone who is shameful, pitiful, and truly unfortunate. So if you haven't had a mentor until now, I sincerely hope you find one. Only those who have a mentor can experience that overwhelming sense of pride and confidence. Just like my mentor, having the mindset that I too can achieve this as a human being, always breathing with that belief is essential for success. All right, everyone, that's it for today. If you found this video helpful, please subscribe, like, set the notification bell, and visit often. Always stay strong. Thank you.